was regarded as his weaker wing. It's ironic that the mistake then came on the back end. So Boetsch holds the opening service game of the match. Watching Eurosport's live coverage. Edberg Love won first set against Boetsch.
15.
Well, Boetsch learning quickly from his error. Not quite getting under the ball in the first point and then correcting it very quickly. Edberg likes the serve into the body. Of course, he doesn't have great pace these days, or hasn't really for a few years, and consequently uses that serve quite a lot.
It's just a little anxious glance. Nothing worse than one of those total mishits landing plumb on the line, but that one was well past it. Oh, terrific play from the Frenchman.
40-30.
Well, it's one of those matches, I think, for purists of the game. If they both play well, they're both very attractive players. Boetsch, lovely little controlled flair there. Roll of the wrist. He's in his familiar stripes, and Boetsch in his LeConte white.
Yes, well, plenty in the first two games to whet the appetite for this contest. Yeah, or Michael Tebbett, the Australian.
15.
First ace of the match. Mr. McMillan will be undoubtedly rooting for Mr. Tebbett, since he plays double-handed on both wings. Was that half a call of out from someone?
I hope not, because it was in.
15.
Beautiful point.
Yes. Don't retire. Quite right. Yes, classic stuff. 15-all. It was indeed called in.
Yes, it couldn't have been easy for them to have designated this court for Edberg. Every match might be his last, and one would imagine the directorate wanting him to lose on the stadium court.
Yes, I suppose with them playing the full round of the last 16, 8 matches to fit in, a bit tough to put them all, plus 2 ladies' quarters. Can't put everything on the centre, and you've got to be fair to people who've not played there. Stefan's played 2 matches on the centre.
Just not getting under that enough, Boetsch.
Oh. Yeah, there's some great stroke play already, isn't there? Just a joy to watch this.
Well, Edberg finally coming in, really, when one least expected him to, but he sensed his opportunity and really was just beaten by a magnificent shot. Not that you can do about that.
All three games have gone to 30, but all three games have gone with the serve. So it's boetsch who leads 2-1 in the first set. And we're on the grandstand court today. Change of venue for us. He's hit some sweet passing shots, Boetsch, off both wings.
Yes, he's likely to be quite a lot more dangerous than Pereira was eventually yesterday. Nicholas Pereira, who really we expected to be involved in a champagne type encounter with Edberg, but it never materialized.
Yes, all the fizz went out of it fairly early, didn't it?
Yes, Edberg lost only 3 points in his serve in the first set, 8 in the second, 11 points altogether. Was only down the 1 break point against Pereira. Well, a Gallic type sigh from Boetsch, because realizing that he's played just where Edberg wanted him to do. And if he is going to hit it to the backhand, he really wants to keep it a lot lower and make Edberg volley up.
Mind you, even when you do, you quite often find yourself facing a difficult next shot.
2 games.
So the pattern of every service game being held to 30 is broken, that one to 15. So I guess Edberg's 1 point ahead in terms of points won against points lost.
As I suppose one of the means of playing somebody you've beaten 10 times is to get in and get stuck into him early, just to remind him, Boetsch, who he is playing. Not that he would need any reminding. But Edberg seems rather serene about it all. And it's very important, knowing that Edberg's going to be bearing down on you, just to keep your head and to keep down and get under it. Not more easily said than done, of course.
30.
Second ace from Boetsch. And a love service game from Arno, an impressive one at that. Good serving, and that one lovely backhand on the first point when he was under some threat. 3-2, hardly made a mistake, lost us the one game. Edberg 2-3 first set here on the grandstand. First double fault of the match, and a big one.
He's got this very strange approach to his serve. The racket head displayed like a pan. And of course, by starting his service action like that, he does have to use quite a bit of wrist. And here's a man who uses wrist as well. Well, there was a man.
Well, Boetsch thinking maybe it was a double fault when he was in such a good position after a return that was right into the corner.
Yeah, certainly felt a bit longish. I just wondered whether he was going to play the drop shot there, but I think his concentration had gone, and I think the drop shot would not have been a good play anyway. Edberg was onto it.
Stefan struggling with his first serve in this game.
One of those problems against Edberg, you don't want to just control the ball because you've got to be wary of his volleying ability. On the other hand, you don't want to give him too many free points like this. So I think really the conclusion is make him play, even if he is one of the world's great volleyers. And I would say on the evidence of that game that the agitation now is beginning to creep into the Boetsch game. I think there's suddenly the realization that he is playing somebody who's beaten him 10 times out of 10. So as a consequence, this 7th game here is likely to be pretty important. Looking for a shiny one.
Last game with the old balls. And a first double from Boetsch. Oh, she nearly made that.
Good control passing shots on the forehand side, two successively by Boetsch.
That's just a little anxious glance. Nothing worse than one of those total mishits landing plumb on the line, but that one was well past it. Oh, terrific play from the Frenchman.
40-30.
Well, it's one of those matches, I think, for purists.
Was regarded as his weaker wing. It's ironic that the mistake then came on the back end. So Arno Boetsch holds the opening service game of the match. Watching Eurosport's live coverage. Edberg Love won first set against Arno Boetsch.
15.
Well, Boetsch learning quickly from his error. Not quite getting under the ball in the first point and then correcting it very quickly. Edberg likes the serve into the body. Of course, he doesn't have great pace these days, or hasn't really for a few years, and consequently uses that serve quite a lot. Of the game, if they both play well, they're both very attractive players. Boetsch, lovely little controlled flair there, roll of the wrist. He's in his familiar stripes, and Boetsch in his LeConte white.